Good morning, everyone. So we are here back in the shop. We're going to work on a 2007 Jeep Commander with 4.7 in it. Stay tuned to see what we're going to do. Alright, here we are, guys. So there is obviously a bad water pump. It has sprayed coolant everywhere, and if you can see it down there, there's a weep hole in there right there. That's on the top of these, and once they go bad, it just starts spraying coolant out of there and goes everywhere. So they make an actual special tool to get the fan clutch off. You gotta get on that big nut down there, and it does turn this way. It loosens counterclockwise. If you don't have the fan clutch tool, it is a 36mm, or you can just use a big crescent wrench. Part number, if you go to CarQuest, is that guy right there. Now keep in mind, the 5.7 is different than the 4.7, so they don't use the same water pumps. That guy right there is your coolant bleed screw, and then down on your driver's side, way down there, is the coolant drain for the cooling system. So first thing I do is I break that fan loose before you even take the belt off. Your tensioner is right there. So I broke that fan loose, and I'm going to pull that out, and then I'm going to go down and drain the coolant. So I'm going to get to that, and I'll be right back with you guys. Alright, so now we're going to pull that tensioner off. Well, we're going to loosen the tensioner and pull the belt off, I should say. So again, I have a nice little special tool for this, and if you don't, it's 16mm. So we're going to throw it on there, and then pull towards the driver's side, and that belt loosens up, and we're just going to pull it right off the alternator. It's the easiest one to pull it off of, and it works. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. So, as you can see, here's the new water pump, and the bolts are all the way around it. Gasket's just a nice little rubber guy, and it just sits in a channel on the back side right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull off all those bolts around the outside. Looks like there's 8 of them, and then to get to some of them, that lowered idler pulley, you got to pull that off. That's a 16mm. So looks like there's 13mm all the way around the outside. I'm going to go ahead and pull that off, and I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, so it's off, guys. There are 3 different sizes of bolts. It looks like 2 different sizes of bolts. So the long one goes there, the long one goes there, and the long one goes up there. All the other ones are short ones. Make sure and remember that. It's hard to screw it up, I guess, but make sure and pay attention. So we're going to clean that sealing surface up a little bit with some scotchbrite, and we're going to dry it off real good with some paper towels, and we're going to shove this back on there. I'll be right back. Alright, so once you got those back on there, make sure and torque them down. I'll put the torque spec in the comments, or in the description, I should say. Then we can put that lower tensioner pulley back on, right down there, and then we can reroute the belt. And then lastly, put that stupid fan back on, close the radiator, open that little petcock, and we will start bleeding everything. So I'll be right back. So that looks like it is a 5/16. I'm sure if you have an 8mm, it would fit also. It does not. Or wait, I don't even have an 8. There it is. Yep, 5/16 or 8 mil. That's what size that's going to be. Tools out of the way. One of the best things I've bought. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen that and start putting some coolant in it. And the reason you need to loosen that is so you can bleed your cooling system. Bleeding your cooling system is extremely important. You can get air bubbles in there and then you just won't cool. But we'll go through the belt diagram quick because I don't have a diagram on here. So your crankshaft is all the way down there, okay? So you're going to run that belt on the bottom of the crankshaft, up on this side of the pulley, down below the tensioner, up on top of the AC compressor, on top of the alternator, and then it's going to come down this side and up the water pump onto the power steering pump. And that's all. So we're going to go ahead and loosen that, and I'll show you what it looks like to bleed the cooling system. Alright, so we're adding coolant in it slowly. If you reuse your old coolant, make sure and strain it. It's always a good idea to just put dirty ass coolant in there. But as you put coolant in, eventually the fluid will start coming out of there. I'm going to put some more coolant and I'll be right back. Okay, I used new coolant in this, but I'm going to use this as an example. So if you don't have a strainer and you can't afford to buy new coolant, or you don't want to buy new coolant and you need to strain it, get a funnel and drape paper towels over it, and then it will catch whatever you throw in there. It drains slowly, so it takes a while, but you know, that's one option you can do to use to strain it. Just wanted to show you that to you guys, just in case you needed an idea. Okay, and we're running, and you can see coolant flowing in there. Once it starts coming out a little bit, we'll put that cap on there, and our bleed process should be done. You can see it flowing pretty good in there. So once it kind of starts coming up and coming out of there, we'll call it good. One thing I'd like to add during this time while you're running the vehicle and getting the air out of it, it's a good time to check for leaks and see if you have any. And as you can see, it's starting to bubble on up. So we are good to put that cap back on, and this repair is done. One thing I always like to do is check to make sure you have heat at this point. Because if you don't, you know, then you could still have an air bubble somewhere, and you'll have to keep working on it to get it out. If you have an air bubble, something that might help you is if you raise the lower or the front end of the vehicle up on maybe jack stands, or if you have car ramps work great. Get the fill in this bleeder above the heater core a little bit farther, so just angle the vehicle and it'll help get some of that air out. For the love of God, I have not put my fan back on yet, so for the love of God, make sure you do get that back on there. Again, you know, you did counterclockwise to take it off, so clockwise to put it on, just like a normal righty-tighty, lefty-loosey nut or bolt. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on, shut this thing off, and I'll be right back. So when you get this guy all but on there, and it's as tight as you can get it, you know, it's going to start spinning. One thing you can do to kind of set it a little bit is just use a hammer and tap it on there. You can also try that method to take it off. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But just make sure and kind of set it a little bit on there and tap it with a hammer just to make sure it's good. Stay tuned. We got some fun stuff coming up. We have Alpha Alfa Romeo Giulia, actually. We got to do some brake work on the front, so we're going to do that, and I'm going to give you guys a review of some Adams ceramic coating also. But it's another successful repair for these guys. I've worked on these guys' cars a long time. This one's relatively simple, so if you're hesitant doing a water pump on a 4.7 or even the 5.7, they're easy too. Like, subscribe, comment, ask questions, and enjoy the day, guys. It's spring, summer, wherever you guys are. It is absolutely beautiful out, so I'm going to finish this and go on the lawn. Deuces, guys.